All right. All right, we're walking in the door, giving you guys time to get in as we move forward. All right. Okay. All right. Good to see many of you that are coming in. We're getting ready for this relationship and marriage talk show. It's going to be epic tonight. It's going to be a strong night as we move forward in this. Good afternoon, Pam. Pam, as we wait on our host, co-host rather, and our doctor to enter the room. Certainly, we are excited about tonight. Listen, tomorrow night is Bible Challenge. Join me right here, or you can go to YouTube and join me right here virtually as I'm teaching virtually at the same time in the sanctuary on tomorrow night. And that is, we're dealing with understanding the spirit man, your spirit man. We're dealing with that on tomorrow night. We're getting ready for our fivefold ministry talk show. And then we're getting ready for our musicians blog. That's going to be epic. We have some very renowned musicians that are going to be on here with us. Listen, we're in the studio. We're going full thrive. We're not going to play around with this. We are going in. Yeah, that we are going in. So tonight, as we make ready for the talk show tonight, as we deal with. Now, this is one of the topics we're going to deal with, but we're going to build our way to it tonight. And that is, we're going to deal with when a man loves a woman. Greetings, Natasha. Greetings, Pastor from India. We're going to deal with the true epics of when a man truly loves a woman. Our guest is our agents are running a little late, of course. They'll be on. They have the invitation. Somebody just Pastor Boyd just popped on. He's coming in momentarily. Dr. Stevie will be in. There he is. He's making his arrival. And certainly we are. Hey man, we see you, Doctor. We're waiting on Pastor Boy. As we move, we're going to deal with when a man really loves a woman. We're going to build up that topic to that. We're going to build up. We're going to build up to that because we have two more other questions that is outstanding that's going to be dealt with tonight. And it's going to be a little rocky. Yeah, it's going to be a little rocky. Dr. Boyd has made his entrance. And he's in. Well, there you go. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our co-host is here. Yeah, so we good to see them online tonight. And yeah, it's been a good day. I believe we can testify that your Facebook was flooded with those people down there with the handicap team down there, and and down in Texas. The handicap team.
Yeah.
Dr. Steve, I hope we're not offending you all with.
Yeah, they happy down here.
Uh-oh. We done found out something, Dr. Boyd. We done found out
something. What?
But let's get to it. Let's get to it, gentlemen. Certainly, we will be back on Thursday. This is the setup night. Well, we set it up, and then Thursday at 8 o'clock is till we drop. And we're going to really go in. But tonight, we're going to attack these three little questions, and hopefully we can bail out them. I don't think we're going to be able to bail out on them tonight, but we're going to do what we got to do. All right. This question is to men, and most men have asked me the question. By the way, I want to thank all of you, Pastor White, and different ones that have called in. You have had some people's my way for them to get help with domestic violence, and I'm supposed to make a phone call at 8:20 with the other special guest because he's moving around taking care of his ecclesiastical duties. So I'm gonna call him at 8:20. He's supposed to be ready to go and talk to us just live by phone, and then make his way into our program next Monday or this coming Thursday. So he will be with us, and that is Pastor Albert. Yeah, that's his name, Albert. And he's gonna be with us. Good evening, Miss Wooders. Good to see you on here. Okay, let's get to this question. Oh my, let's see, the phones are ringing already. Pastor Reggie. Yes, Pastor Reggie. Pastor Reggie, I'm on live right now. I'm gonna call you right back, sir, when I get off live. Okay, it's okay. All right. Let's get to it. Should a man, and I want to detail that with deep thoughts. Should a man have mercy on a woman when they do wrong to men? And that's a strong question now. Should a man? Because I think, and let me just get this ball on the court and move around. I think it's time for the men to stand up and be men. And our love is showing when we care by dealing with a situation. I mean, it's just time. We've let things go on, and we've sat down so long now till things are completely out of control in our household and in our families. And our wives that we're married to is only running over us because we are letting them do it. Because we're not standing up, taking authority and meaning business. And on top of that, they're ruling. The Bible says in the book of Genesis, For he shall rule over her. We can't get away from that. Ruling means don't beat her. You don't have time to beat on a woman. You're not supposed to destroy her, to defame her, tear her capital, defame her, tear her down, but yet rule with authority, but at the same time mean business and take care of business. So I'm back out of there because I'm swallowing my beers half trying to get that out. I got to go get that shade down a little bit. But what are your positions on that, gentlemen? Either one of you that co-host, I tell you what, co-host, I'm gonna let you bounce in this here first, and then we're gonna let the doctor walk in the door and do what he do. But we want to do this good, but we want to expeditiously move to the next question so we can have a pinfall on that last question. Come on.
Okay. Should a man show compassion to
Your
a
volume
woman?
kind of low. Your volume real low.
Volume though. How about now?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay. I got echo here. Wait a minute. Well, anyway, one of the things that should, and I'm repeating the question: should a man show compassion to a woman? What's that last part?
Should a man have mercy on a woman when she done wrong to him? You know, let's break it down. Let me go. Maybe I did break it down. For instance, she go down there, she lie on him and say he hit him when he didn't hit her. Put him on child support, knowing that he wants a relationship with his child, takes advantage of him, go down there, look for pay raises. Hit him. Hit him, jump on him, and the minute he retaliates and hit her back, then she used the upper hand with the judiciary system to destroy him, to defame him, and then get up the road with her girlfriend to do all the nasty things he do, like bust his windows out, slice his tires up, throw rocks through the window of the home where he's living at, always agitating and aggravating him. Should he have mercy on her when she does that? These are what the men's are asking, Doc. I'm just putting it out there on. I know it is what it is because it do make sense. Should he?
Well, anyway, let me go ahead. I'm gonna let the
man turn that mic up, man. Turn that mic up. Turn that mic up.
I'm gonna deal with it from a man's point of view. First of all, yes, he should at the end show mercy.
Good evening, Pastor White.
And so
I can't hear.
You can't hear me?
You real low, man. Your microphone used to be loud and clear.
I can hear him. I can hear him clearly.
You can hear clearly. Go ahead. Then it must be on my end. Go ahead.
So here it is. We can't. Forgiveness is always for you and not for the individual.
Okay.
However, I think men run out of options and feel like they are pushed into a corner where they have nowhere else to deal with the situation. I think I'm counseling with someone right now that's dealing with a narcissist. And for the most part, and the reason why I laugh, because it's amazing what men get themselves involved with.
Boy.
You know, and you know, if you go to the hood and you know she's from the hood and you can see, you know, when you go over to the house and you see Debo, you know, Craig and all them on the porch, you know, and them, you know
what
that this is her culture, this is her environment.
Right.
So there are some flags that we should be paying attention to. Now, if you don't pay attention to those flags and you involve yourself and you take this relationship or you think you're going to change her or your hope is to upgrade her, well, you get what you get.
Right.
And it's just being real talk.
That's it.
Now, as far as all the the extracurricular activities that comes along with that kind of thing, it'll soon die out if you don't feed it.
This is
But
true.
once some of those things are done and you get the police involved, then it should de-escalate.
Yeah.
But you cannot feed it by trying to talk to them. And it's sad when kids get involved in this.
Yeah.
And I think we covered this last time. There are laws that are there in place to protect the man and woman.
Right.
You have to know, and I just think it's just time for you to realize what your rights and what your situation is before it continue to escalate like that.
Right.
There are some things you can do to prevent this thing, video cameras and stuff like this, where now you got the law working on your side. So hey, once you get them involved, and they, again, they got to have a, if they don't mind going to jail or whatever the case. I just think you need to launch all other men just tend to want to handle this themselves.
Right.
But I'm saying this, again, I'm not an advocate and not saying that it's his fault
Right.
that he's gotten involved with this situation.
Mhm.
But nevertheless, you're gonna have to confront this, and you're gonna have to do everything in a legal way where it doesn't backfire on you. Because women have a bad habit. Some women's out there, when they really want to get at you, they do those things.
Ooh, God.
They act, they want you to put your hands on them, and then they're gonna cry, Holy Mary, you trying
to set you up, Doc, and you done.
You going to jail, and you're gonna get paid. You're gonna suffer the consequences bad.
That's it.
But nevertheless, again, we cannot tell young men enough on this program. You must pay attention to the red flags.
That's it.
I don't care how fine she look. I don't care how look. If some women are single, there's a reason why they single. And
That's
if
right.
you don't pay attention to it, and I don't care who you are, you can think you the never air and you can pay the money or whatever. You're not going to change the content of what some of these women are. And it's not your job to change them in the first place.
That's right.
But I just think you need to, if you are involved in situations like that, you really need to start taking this situation seriously.
Take heed.
The day, hey, if they don't have you, nobody will. And you'll put your child in a greater offense. So the more you can build that case that she's got anger management issues, she's going out of her way, and the child is being neglected, then that would just work favorably for you. But let me say this as I turn it over to Dr. Stevens on this. The first thing is first. Are you capable of providing a life for this kid? Because just getting this kid because this kid is not in the best environment and you switch them to a more compromised environment is not going to do it. And I just wish men would understand that, that you cannot just keep fighting her over the child and not build yourself up in the meanwhile.
Right.
Because again, some women hate and despise you because you're building yourself up and they're missing out because they feel like they put that time in, they need to be getting that benefit. So if I cannot get the benefit, I'm gonna tear this thing down. Y'all remember the movie that Tyler Perry put out, Kumin or whatever that movie was. I thought that was a great example to show how some men are visionaries and trying to build themselves up, but you got a woman that's listening to everybody else and tearing them down. So at the end of the day, I just think you need to focus on building yourself up and building your things up and stop letting this kid and this child disrupt your life, because whatever way, again, you lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas.
Yeah, you're going to get some fleas.
I can't be no more real than that. So, but for me to feel, if you want another man feel sorry for you, and I'm just gonna be real, I won't have no sympathy for you. Yeah. I mean, I feel sorry that you and that child and everybody else is involved that's in a situation like this. But somebody told you, God gave you warnings before you went too far with it. I know I had warnings. I had several warnings, but not because my bottom head was thinking from my big head, it got where it got. But I took responsibility. I didn't come out crying out, man, this is what she did all of me. Man, get on your nerves. But they know what to do it to, who not do it to.
Yeah, sir. They know who to play with y'all. Come on, Dr. Steve.
I'm trying to actively listen because I don't want to miss any of the points. The first thing I want to address is I find it interesting that some would say it is time or should a man be merciful as if we've been unmerciful
Uh-oh.
for
I knew he was
for
gonna go there.
Yeah.
for over
Guaranteed.
for over I'm not I don't want to speak from a subjective
No, walk it.
standpoint
Walk it. Walk it.
that will suggest I'm being biased. I'm only
Right.
looking at history. I'm only looking at history and the social programming that has been normal. And one of the things that has been normal is that we have been unmerciful,
Right.
and the conversation has been one-sided. The word mercy itself means to alleviate one of the penalty
Right.
based upon the actions that one has done, and
Right.
they deserve said penalty.
Right.
Hence, we approach God's throne of grace and obtain help.
Uh-huh.
The throne that could be used as a place of judgment and execution, we find help. We cry out to him to have mercy on us. I know I should be penalized, but be merciful unto us. And part of the merciful act, if we are using this from a humanistic standpoint, the merciful act of men has consisted of, for at least 40 years, men have been silent and said absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
When Oprah Winfrey made a tremendous amount of money earmarking and demonstrating how men have abandoned various things, abandoned their responsibility. They don't want to work. They're horrible. And even in the 2000s, when we were unfamiliar with what a down low brother is, those who grew up in the 90s with me, and we were young adults and teenagers in the 90s, we thought to be a down low brother consisted of having a lady that everyone knows and also having a lady that no one knows.
Absolutely.
And that was the lady that you dealt with on the down low.
Right.
And yet that was another hit at how men are deplorable and should be reprimanded from a generalized social standpoint. And let's not take into account, and I cannot forget, that movies earmark various things that one is seeking to permeate within culture, within the culture. Movies such as Color Purple, that movie has shaped so many minds.
This is true.
And it has been studied within universities and used. The movie Color Purple has been used to underscore and highlight various gender studies as it relates to our ethnicity.
Right.
And if we were to be honest, that character said a lot about us.
This is true.
We were vilified.
Right.
We were horrible.
Yeah.
We were waiting to exhale.
Yeah.
All of them made the decisions that they made, but it was because we were horrible.
Right.
We have received absolutely no mercy from a generalized, objective point of view.
That's it.
Yet we have been given publicly the need to be more responsible, more responsible. I listened to Pastor Boyd, and he said that if men want to approach the courts, they can now obtain custody. That wasn't happening 20 years ago. That wasn't public 20 years ago.
Was not happening.
It wasn't something that was publicly anticipated 25, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. That wasn't it. And now various things are transpiring within the social pendulum.
Yeah.
And through social media and various means, men are saying more because men have not had the chance to dictate various things that transpire on talk shows. We haven't had that. We haven't dictated and earmarked our version, our narrative, our part of the story. We haven't been given that luxury because we were not the ones that was the voice on the talk shows.
That's it.
That wasn't us.
That's right.
So should one be merciful is the question. We've been merciful with our silence.
Right.
We have, listen, I always shudder to think on how some people will live in the delusional idea that people, and I'm going to say, and I'm trying my best not to categorize it within our ethnicity, but anyone within my ethnicity and carry my gender socially or from an environmental standpoint, we haven't had the ability to penalize anybody.
This is true. This is true. This is true.
I don't care if you go back to the 1700s. I don't care if you go to the 1800s. Collectively, we haven't been able to penalize anybody from within the cultural environment or even within our own families.
This is true.
We haven't been able to penalize anyone. And what makes it uncomfortable is that some people cannot deal with it emotionally, and they cannot deal with the emotional consequences when we do verbalize our concerns. The straight, and I'm going to say this, the straight heterosexual guy that is able to think outside of the normal pathology.
Right.
He is the villain.
Yeah.
Because if we look at our society and the social structure, everyone is protected except you.
And that's facts.
Women are protected.
That's it.
People who operate in an alternative lifestyle, they're protected. Those who make a conscious decision to have gender replacement and take hormone therapy, they are protected. But who's there to protect you? So if we want to look at this from an objective standpoint that deals with policies, when other people were given Title IX opportunities to advance themselves people that look like me, that carried my gender, they were estimating how many people will fill up empty prisons when they had no inmates to put in them. If we want to be precise and deal with who has received no mercy, when we were not given housing, we were not given the opportunity to be on housing. We were not given the opportunity to receive governmental assistance from a large proportional standpoint. We were given prisons.
That was our come up, prison.
Okay, so let me ask this question. Do you feel
that's Bart. Hold on. Y'all hold on one second. Hold on 1 second. We got the Pastor Wilbert on here, and he's a pimp. He used to be a pimp. He's a pastor now, and he teaches from a very strong point about men being abused. So I want him to give him that minute to share with us, and then he got to get off and go finish take care of his ecclesiastical duty. Pastor Wilbert, he's coming up by way of phone. Pastor Wilbert, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just listening. That sounds very interesting, and a lot of facts and things that go with what I was listening to. And anytime you get truth, there's always more truth as to why it became truth. And as us, as a culture, I just heard us said about the housing. Well, they've given us what was already ours, but we didn't know how to take it. So I won't kick in head. I would have wished I would have been there from the beginning, but I heard some strong things. But we're did I hear it clear, penalizing we're not penalizing ourselves, or what was that I heard?
Well, at this point, what we're dealing with here is, should we have mercy on the women when they do wrong to us? That was the first question. So that's the platform, Pastor, that we're dealing. Now we're dealing with Pastor Whippet. He's 70 years old. Next week he'll be on live with us. Right now he's doing phone. He's just sitting in with us and full of wisdom, and been pastoring a long time. And you won't find another one like him. I met him, and he and I have just been clicking and on the road ever since. So that's where we at, Pastor. So what's your input on that?
Well, you say mercy. What?
Here we go.
If you define what mercy is it mercy secular or sacred, or just from the human standpoint?
Right.
Or it's what the woman has been able to do. They said, according to Austin legislation, the penalty for the men now is that we got to wait so many years previously for domestic violence towards women, and men are weak in essence that they believe they shouldn't show their weakness by saying they're being abused. There's nobody I've never seen a man really want to open up and say, my wife abused me every time she opened my mouth, but I love her. So is that the kind of mercy you're looking for? Or do you distinguish whether you love her or you just like what she do to you?
Absolutely.
Because if you want to balance the book, I would say this from my understanding, because I was low down in my essence of what I was going to do towards what I was doing. But under these guidelines now, if you're going to have to go do 18 weeks for just something you said, but you're afraid to send her to get the same thing, I think somewhere
you ought to draw the line. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'd have to wait a while, and next time I come along, I want to be there at the beginning. But
right.
I would say, Dr. Mark, that we've been too weak as men for centuries.
Work on us, Doc. Work on us now.
We've been weak. We accepted trinkets to send our people on ships. After we oppressed them because they didn't agree with the tradition. And so we blamed it on the white man, not just the white man, the European white man, and we blamed it instead of blaming on each other. But the dominant black male has always been fierce. But how can you? It's been a World War I, a World War II, not a III, but it's a World War Me for the black man.
Right.
You go down the list of all that you're fighting within, you can't make sound decisions because you ain't finished the fight that's going on inside of it.
That's it. Now, there it is.
You can be educated.
Right.
You can have accreditation. You can have all that. You can have degrees. Of course, I don't ever tell nobody about the little few I got because it doesn't matter, because I don't back them up all the time. And you can't. I'm getting sick of people really talking about educating schools, because I don't think none of those great blacks back then, Garvey and them, they had no white school to go to, but they still succeeded.
This is true.
You can't get mad at this society has messed up. Colonialism has never changed, because now you got white folks there. They're in agreement with the black folks that's in agreement with them, and that's how crazy is Herschel Walker.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Yes, sir.
Whoever that was speaking had some profound profundity, and I wish I had caught the beginning of it, but you can't win when you won't fight within.
Yeah. Now that's another whole ball game right there. When you won't fight within.
You can't. How can I tell a culture that's been in error or just been weak?
That's it.
For those that's listening, has our culture been in error, ignorance, or just weak?
This is true.
So you have to define each one of those. And you go back to when we did have a foothold. We could have done something, but we didn't. Look at Oklahoma. They started something, and no black successful person even commented on it.
That's true. That's true.
Call it Black Wall Street. Now they're trying
That's
to make
it.
movies.
Down in
Who's
Tulsa,
making the most
Oklahoma.
money
Yeah.
behind the movies?
Yeah.
Who's making the most money behind every movie they make?
Always
At the end of the
that.
day,
Yeah.
it's always going to be the white man.
Yeah. Yeah. The Caucasian. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you call them from the mountain of Caucasus or wherever they're supposed to come from. but if you say from the mountain of Caucasus, you say they came from a cave. Figured out how to. Okay, let's leave that alone. But I will say, as I did, hallelujah, Jesus, I departed. I was looking at this thing, and I was on the phone a while ago about someone that was going through what I told you.
Right.
94 years old.
Uh-huh.
Had what was that, pneumonia on his lung, and so his wife, she always me and her chat, and I said, well, may the peace of Jerusalem be with you, and the breeze from the Sea of Galilee refresh your mind to where Jesus walked on water.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, Wilbert, why you get that from? I said, because if we believe whatever's been said,
Mm-hmm.
then where did we get the information from?
Watch out. There it is.
Where did you get it from?
It's true.
Where did you get this information that you suggest that you get this information that you say is profound? It could be profound, but it may not be proficient in what we need.
Right.
Because look at the black millionaires, billionaires. Do they want a whole black town? They're afraid. They're afraid to get a whole black town. They're not. They got to mingle with those people that they believe that gives them the status that they have instead of standard that you need to get your own. I got mine. So
right.
We fell right into the old trap, and we're still there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you leave the human's perspective and go from what's secular to sacred, then there's another ball game that nobody wants that one.
Nah.
Because everything that's whooped us was at the top, and it was demonic.
Yeah.
We don't take that word because we're afraid that they never exist. We said that didn't happen. They never existed. Well,
good evening, Catherine. Yeah. This is
so
true.
do I use 5 rules to say who is right about truth? And why did it take so long for this truth to become available?
Yeah.
When will we understand why is it that everybody knows what should have happened, when it should happen, and why are we this late getting it to the people who need to hear it?
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's
So what do you tell the biracial children that didn't understand the other side of their skin?
well. Oh wow.
Until they get broke, they ain't gonna have no problem with it.
That's the only way they're gonna have a problem when they get broke that.
So the man, okay, let me just say this for the weak man or the strong man.
Okay.
Who was abusing the slave woman? Was it the black man or the white man?
Uh-oh. That was an antagonizing question.
Who told the black man, shut up while I rape your wife?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, is that question posed to everyone? Because it was the white man that said that after he finished raping us. After he finished raping the black man, after he finished buck breaking him, and he was left with no sense of honor, and everyone else was afraid to say anything to the slave master. Then he went to her because she came along. She came along and they went to enslave her because the slave voyages could no longer continue and they was going to have to put a stop to the slave trade based upon European and other nationalities and other nations and their greed. So they conjured up this idea: we need to get some of these women so
Yeah.
that we can have them to reproduce. So we know who was raping, and I do believe, if I don't, and I try not to drive so far back in the history, especially when there is, what is it called? What is being earmarked now? The council culture within seeking to redefine or bring out various aspects of history. Because if we're going to look at it from a historical context, that it was a total concerted effort with Africans, along with other nationalities, the Brazilians and those from Portugal and those from those were from European areas. It was a total concerted a concerted effort, because you cannot go to another man's country and capture him without assistance from those within that country.
Yeah.
And I dare not move into the area that will expose the historical references that consist of, there were Europeans and others who were marrying various African women, and various settlers had biracial children from various African women, and they became daughters of the trade. So that historical context, that rabbit hole can become so deep. That rabbit hole can become so deep, and you have to consistently ask yourself, we do know, and that's why I try my very best to lean on the cross, because it is the place for salvation concerning humanity, and the corruption of man is totally based upon our greed.
Yeah.
African kings and settlers wanted greed. Europeans wanted greed. Other nations wanted greed. So that is something interesting, because we know that they didn't capture slaves. They didn't capture slaves. They captured people and enslaved them. They enslaved people, and they turned normal, brilliant-minded individuals that expressed that brilliance in their country, and they were converted to slaves. And not only were they beaten, but they were ignorant because they didn't understand where they were.
True.
So that rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper. But to move into various things as it relates to where we are, I still believe, and I must hold fast to it. Jesus is the answer for everybody.
That's it.
For all of us.
That's
And I, without reservation, I know that the challenge is, am I willing to surrender and submit to what the word of God says, and identify that man's plight first is spiritual? That is the root of his plight. That is the root of his plight. The reason why there is so much contention and division among us, the Bible declares that it's pride. And pride sits at the root of various things that expresses and is carried out, that consists of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. So yes, we are able to obtain wealth. So if I have to step on you to get it, if I've got to hurt you to get it, I want the wealth, because wealth will equate to power, and power will expand my reach. Right. And so I believe it's far deeper than the white man, the man from other nations. I believe it's far deeper than the black man. I believe it's far deeper than the black woman. I believe it's far deeper than that. But if we are itemizing and identifying where we are within our current culture, and how we were able to move into this place, and thoroughly being able to pinpoint the problem, the mutual blame. And my concern is that the blame and the narrative has only been presented primarily from one dimension. Because we do understand without denial that if you're going to change a nation, the Bible says if you want to conquer the house, you must bound the strong man. And I think it makes men sound as if we're unmerciful because we're giving our version. You don't have to degrade anyone. You're not
okay.
You're not being inflammatory. You're just giving your vantage point from your masculine perspective.
Right. That's flat. He said he'll see us on Thursday. He said he's gonna holler at me later, but he's gonna see us on Thursday. Pastor Boyd, you had a question before we went there, so we can get to the next question. Because we want to monopolize all of these minutes we have left here. What was your question, Dr. Boyd?
I was asking Dr. Stevens to elaborate on. He was saying that the availabilities and the resources that was made
Right.
for the female was not made for the male. And I'm asked the question: should it have been?
Well, let me. I hate because when you start dealing with history, you don't have to take my word for it. It's history.
Yeah.
As various things progress, certain things were earmarked within our culture, and it was shown in movies. If you ever rewatch Claudine, I forgot. I know it was starring a man by the name of James Earl Jones. If you see Claudine, that movie that took place in the 70s, she had many children, and James Earl Jones was starring in that movie. I forgot the lady. I think her name is Diane Carroll. That's the name, Diane Carroll. Diane Carroll represents a lady who is on public housing. What took place during that time? This is a direct reflection of what was going on in the 70s. What took place in the 70s? You had a large influx and a movement that was beginning to take center stage. And I don't really want to, you're going to make me go down that street, Pastor Boyd, but I'll deal with it. Don't take my, go look at the research yourself. The feminist movement began to take center stage. And the feminist movement was not originated for people of our hue. It was for people, it was for white females who thought and responded and felt that they were being mistreated. They were not receiving fair treatment. They were not being responded to. And the interesting thing is, it was also being conversed to our women, and it was being stated that your men are holding you down to they are oppressive towards you, when we never had the chance to be oppressive as a people.
No,
we never had that chance unless we wanted to hang from a tree and become strange fruit. We never had that. We never had that privilege. So it was inaccurate. However, the African American female was able to partner with their movement and receive some of the benefits and entitlement benefits that were set aside for her. Those benefits were for her. The originator of the feminist movement was for white women. That's not being derogatory. That's history. So don't shoot me. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. But as a result of that, our African American women began to join that movement, and they saw various ways in order to receive those benefits. And one of the benefits were you can have housing, you can receive public housing, you can receive other governmental benefits. But here is the catch: you cannot have a man in the home. And when you watch the movie Claudine, there could not be a man in the home. There could not have been a man in the home. So the governmental benefits were not for us. They were not for us. They were not for us. I'm sorry. You can look at me in that tone of voice, but you can't change what is historically documented.
That's right.
The benefits were given if we were not there. Since it was a very difficult economic time as it is. It was a tough time as it is. It was a very difficult time for an African American man
Right.
to gain employment.
Right.
So he
Right.
had to work. He had to do 2 or 3 times the amount of work for half the price.
That's right.
Because we had just came out of the civil rights movement, and that movement began to decline. Man, so in short, the benefits were not for us.
Right.
You can say what you will of May. You can say, oh, he is horrible. But I wish before anyone gives an overwhelming amount of an emotional investment to what makes them feel uncomfortable, please take just a moment, just a few moments, to do some intellectual lifting that requires a small amount of research to see if it's accurate or inaccurate, and then hold it next to where we are today and see, has any of these decisions and any of these social programming decisions, how has it affected us as a unit?
Wow.
Well, let me say from experience, and I agree with you. I solely don't disagree with you at all. Been knowing that all my life. We always known that about this, as far as the black man being victimized in so many social places, legalistic and everything like that. But I hate using history, Dr. Stevens, because African men use this. That's the reason why I don't do this and I don't do that, because the system. Let me just squash this bull crap right here. I was a single parent. I raised my kid. I got the assistance. Didn't get what the average woman would have got, but I got something. But the average man wasn't going to live off of it. That was the difference. I needed that help for that period. And when that 6 months was up, I didn't look for another 6 months because I got where I need to be economically.
Right.
You know, so I wasn't living off of that. But yes, you're right. I was a little upset because I wouldn't have got, if it had been my wife and it had been the vice versa, she'd have got way more, double way
more money down. She'd have
But
leaned on it.
But the concept of the society in which I grew up in, you won't know this because you was on your way. But back then, the man was supposed to take care of the house.
Back then, it's supposed to be that way now. Back then,
that's all I heard. The man took care of the house.
That's right.
Took care of the house. I ain't talking about the era about the slavery and the dispensation. I'm saying in my era growing up, that's all I heard was the man taking care of the house. And for the most part, in my community, we did see the men taking care of the house.
That's right. Took care of business, boy.
They took care. They ran everything. Pretty much that's why men was in the church. Most of those deacons, everybody was, most of the majority of men. You did not run into many men, and they was not seen as much because they was ostracized in that community if you want to take care of your family.
Right.
And you know,
so that's the culture I grew up in.
Now
I grew up believing I'm supposed to take care of my family. So again, the argument can be overall, you are right. You are absolutely right. I've seen the system. We all know the system. It never worked for the black man. It never was. But we did. But there are men who did, and it's not a few, it's not a lot of us. It's that 1% who did break through and did what they need to do to take care of their families and did what they need to do without that assistance. They either got it, like I did, but got off of it. But the most part, a man gonna find a way to provide for his own.
There were many men I know, and I grew up in that era. Now, this is what's interesting. I was talking to a brother that's much younger than I am, and I'm thankful now. I'm thankful that I don't look my age. It is such a blessing, and I thank God for it.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
It is right there. But so they don't have to look at me in that tone of voice. But one of the things, this is what I wanted to paint out. I grew up in that era. The era I grew up in my community, there were only one lady within my community who worked. All of the other men, they worked. and their wives did not work.
I
Their
grew up with that
wives
too.
did.
I grew
It
up with
was,
that too.
and I grew up in that era where I saw my dad and I saw other men in the community. It was when they came together and had coffee and talked. They would say things like, "Man, oh well, no, my wife ain't got to work on nobody's job. Ain't dealing with all this stuff." Yeah. And they started their own business.
Yeah.
One of them, they had their own businesses. But they had to work 2 jobs to save the money, to invest the money. They had to work hard, and their wife was their solid partner in helping that business move, and it became the family business.
Right.
Now, as time progressed, this younger guy, we're good friends, nice guy, he said, this is what he said to me. He said, "Stevens, that sounds controlling. That can be considered controlling."
Yeah.
I said, "I need you to listen." I said, "You need you to follow." I said, I need you to follow how delusional that sounds. First, you say a man won't provide.
Uh-huh.
And then when he provides and provides in a way that the family is taken care of, and her ultimate responsibility is to make sure that the kids are taken care of.
Only
Not
responsibility.
only the kids are taken care of, but the various nuances that go into making this home move is not something that is considered noble for a man. And this is why I tell you that programming is powerful. Programming suggested that woman that wants to be a wife, that wants to stay at home with her children, make sure her kids do her homework, make sure that her kids eat a proper meal, make sure that her kids eat a balanced meal, make sure that her kids' clothes are ready, make sure that her family is taken care of, make sure that her husband has what he needs. Society degraded that woman.
Right.
And said that woman is not maximizing her potential, and she is living beneath her privilege because she is subjugated. Don't look at me in that tone of voice, because she is subjugated to being, this is what they said, to being only a housewife. So now you took honor away from the lady that was doing what she did because it helped her family, and she found honor in it. Now, instead of having companions,
I ain't no honor that.
We have more competitors.
Yeah. Oh my. Now, listen.
Instead of having companions, we have more competitors. Because we look down on that lady. That lady deserves honor too.
That's true.
It's not because she's ignorant. It's not because she's lazy. It's because she wants her kids to be taken care of.
Right.
Because she don't want to send her child to a nursery as soon as her child can take 2 steps. That doesn't mean she lacking talent. I'm saying this because I've been in the church a long time, but I haven't been saved all my life. But I listen. I got 2 real good ears.
And pay attention.
I can read and I can retain. Women start degrading other women. Oh, you're gonna have to ask your husband for some money. You ain't got your own money. But guess what? You know what that man did? You know what he did? He loved her so much. Until he would say, "Everything I have is yours." And I want to make sure that everything is taken care of in this home. You need anything? See, now I'm crunk. Now, listen. You need these bills paid. You don't run and tell your daddy you need bills paid. You need this done. You don't run and tell these other folks you need this done. You talk to me. The buck stops with me. But we made that woman, we responded as if that lady was inferior to the lady that woke up every morning with the briefcase in her hand.
Dr. Steve.
That's what we did.
Dr. Steve, get on ice to Thursday. Get on ice to Thursday, because I got 2 more. I got the rod. We gonna tear it down Thursday, baby. Woo! Boy, I'll just let you smoke it right on out. I'll just let you smoke it right out. Listen,
you got me hyped too. Shit.
You ain't kidding. I'm ready to go in, but we got 3 minutes, 4 minutes left. Yeah, we got 4 minutes left. The next question was, I'm gonna skip over these. Well, the next question was, what's the best way to teach a woman about the man she's dating or married? We're not gonna touch that one, but we're gonna go out with this one. We definitely gonna go out with this one, and you hit it on the head. You took us right there, Dr. Steve. And I promise y'all, this is not a rehearsed show. These guys don't know what I'm talking about until they get on here and hear it, just like we are hearing it at the same time. Watch this. The next question is, when a man loves a woman, how does the woman recognize when a man loves her? And
How
you
was
hit
the
it.
what?
Huh?
What you said? Read it one more time.
When a man loves a woman, how does a woman recognize when he really truly loves her? Now, I want to deal with that word "a" because we got these so-called love, that love thing. I'm caught up in the two-way love affair. Y'all remember that hole in the wall music? Come on. My body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. That two-way love, no man can love but one woman at one time. These are facts. So how does she know when a man truly loves her? Now, I could dig into that, but I'm gonna let y'all go out with that. We got 2 minutes, and we got to get out of here.
First of all, you got to know your man.
Wait a moment.
Don't compare me to another man to describe whether or not he loves you, because every man, just like us, a fingerprint. With the way I express my affection to my wife, is not going to be the same way. So, for us to answer that would be like stereotyping a man to say this is going to be across the board. It is not, but you will know. If you know him, you know what he's affectionate about you.
Right.
At the bottom line. But to just come across and say if he's A, B, C, D like that, it's no way we can do it, because again, if he buying you stuff, that don't mean he love you.
Duh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. So that I mean, what he gonna do? The next man gonna do. So I think it's something about that man that loves that woman. He does something, and it ain't about being faithful, Pam. Jesus, we run all the way to that word faithful. That's an understatement when you talk about I love you. He invests. He does what Dr. Stephen said. You have my world.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna go in. Some people don't love people. Some people love love. They love the thrill of love. They love the roller coaster of love. They love the excitement of love. They love the newness of love. They don't love the person. They love what comes as a result of that emotional primary being set out front.
There it is. Listen,
Which
ladies and gentlemen,
do with who you with.
Yeah. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get ready to get out of here.
In love with an emotion. How you gonna be in love? I ain't fooling with Dr. Stephen now.
Listen.
You love with the idea of love, but you don't love. Boy, that's good.
Listen. Thursday night, 8:00, y'all, come right back here, and we're going to take all of these questions and divide them, multiply them, and break it up into all form and direction of answer you want. Listen, y'all start calling in live. The number on the screen, 346-493-2630. Right here in this studio. You can call in and you will be heard while asking your question and get your answer. All right. Thursday, we is wilding out on these questions. Previous. How a woman know when a man love her.
Stevenson, the most sociologist on the program.
We out of here, Gene. We out of here. We'll catch y'all again next round. Thursday, 8:00. Be square. Be live.